Good evening, ladies. In today's video, I want to go through whether or not I believe that if meme coins are a good investment at this very moment in time, after they've already crashed 90 to 99% in some scenarios. So in today's video, I'm going to go through all my thoughts on meme coins and show some new meme coins that are starting to pop off and where to look, what chains to be looking at for different meme coin opportunities. So with all that said, let's get started. So first, I will say, I think the meme coin supercycle has come and gone. So if you're still a believer in the meme coin supercycle, I think you kind of need to realize we kind of had the meme coin supercycle. Like, meme coins were the main idea for crypto for the last 1.5 years. If you missed out on the meme coin supercycle, if you didn't cash out, I didn't cash out anywhere near as much as I should have, because I thought we would have kept going. But even still, even though I do think the meme coin supercycle is kind of peaked in narrative and mindshare, do I think meme coins could still be a good investment at this point? Like, I do think, even though a lot of the memes that were the front runners of the meme coin supercycle, I think a lot of those won't make all-time highs. However, they are down like 90 to 95%. If we look at the chart here on Bonk as an example, we can see this is like one of the better performing meme coins, so that's saying a lot. But you can see it's just down only for the last 2 months, just complete down only, and now has found a little bit of support, double bottom, has a long way to go from this potential local bottom before even making all-time highs. So there's a huge potentiality, like without it even having to break all-time highs, you can still do multiples on a lot of these meme coins, in my opinion. And I do think, or I'll just lay out what I kind of think for the next like couple of months. We can see Bitcoin is having a nice day today. We're seeing Solana looks like it's bottoming as well. I'm going to go through that. And with Bitcoin, I think it could get up to 90k. There's still another 5k for Bitcoin to go to reach that point. And in that time, risk on could happen really, really fast. And you can make some nice short-term trades on these meme coins. Do I think they're going to be breaking all-time highs? Maybe a very select few, which I'll obviously talk about. But that's kind of how I want you to think about it. I don't want you to be thinking all of these old meme coins from the meme coin supercycle are going to make new highs and go crazy in the next couple of months. I think that is a risky opinion to have, and kind of the strategy that I'm thinking is we can take some little trades here. We can try and make a little multiple as they bounce back quite hard, and I'll tell you why I think they're going to bounce back quite hard. As they bounce back quite hard, we can make a nice little trade. But even if, say, Bitcoin does, which I don't think it's going to happen, but it could, say Bitcoin starts breaking out, it goes past 90k, it goes past 95k. At that point, you can kind of say, okay, the bull market's back on. So, for example, we ride up these meme coins up until Bitcoin starts to hit resistance, say 90 to 95k. And if at that point we can take profits on those meme coins, and I'll show you which meme coins I'm looking at, we can take large amount of profit out those meme coins. And if that ends up being a lower high, which I think is most likely scenario for Bitcoin, Solana and everything, I'll show you the charts as well as we're looking at this. But if I'm wrong and that doesn't end up being a lower high, you can just buy back those meme coins once Bitcoin shows, okay, the bull market's really back on. So that's kind of how I'm strategizing it. Why do I think crypto Bitcoin looks like it's put in a local bottom here? So first we'll look at Solana. So you probably don't know me as much of a charting guy, but I'm starting to learn how to do TA, and it's a skill I want to develop over this bear market, and coming into the next bull market, I want to be able to do TA, even though I do think it's retarded. It does actually work. So this is the Solana chart from Follow Us on Twitter. I'll always give the credit where it's credit is due. But you can see it's just down only from $300 all the way to $100. And on the very low time frames, we can see a bit of a double bottom there. Well, not actually a double bottom, but a bottom plus a lower high. So if you're looking at that H12 thing, so you can see the first higher low and the first higher high. So a bit of a potential bottoming happening on Solana. And if you look at the entire chart, so not that little zoomed in part, we can see it potentially, like obviously 120 was a huge support for Solana for basically the entire bull market. And when it crashed below, everyone's like, okay, short it now. Solana is going to $70. It's guaranteed. And now it's actually broken back above 120, back above 125. That key area of support, it's broken back above, which means this is potentially a deviation for Solana. And that wick below could just be a deviation, which if you know anything about TA, that's actually extremely bullish. So in the short term, I do think Solana can, make a run back towards 200. And that would mean all the Solana meme coins go crazy in the short term. So this is all just kind of short term speculation at this point. These are just trades that I'm looking at. So this is why I took this trade on with. We can see similar price structure. Double bottom, broke the previous support / resistance at that blue line there, 39 cent. So I put this trade on, and at this point, seemed like a nice setup. Solana's bottoming, Bitcoin's bottoming. Kind of makes sense that if you go further down the risk curve, there could be some plays. So I put the limit order at the support. It bounced off the support, just like, well, it went a little bit below the support, and then you can see what it did after. So that was a small little trade, and I'm going to ride that up to 50 cent. Nice little trade there. So if you do want to try a bit of leverage trading yourself, Blowfin gave me this deal for you guys, so you can get up to $250 for free to trade with if you deposit on there. So if you want, go for it. And to add to that on Solana, this is a kind of more zoomed in chart. I think this is from Ched's Trading, but generally in TA, like these diagonal lines, they're kind of just meme lines. They don't really mean anything. However, when you back them up with like a horizontal line, which actually means something, because horizontal lines are an actual price point rather than, a dynamic price point. When you add a few different things of confluence together, then potentially it's bullish. Ched's posted this a few days ago, and we can see where the arrow was what, $125. Basically, that was previous support turned into resistance. If we can break above there, and it's also broken above that diagonal line, then that's kind of like 2-in-1. Trade is on. Solana looks good. That's kind of the trade with Solana. So obviously Solana's doing well. All the meme coins are going to do well, even without anyone buying any of the meme coins. Because the price of Solana goes up, the price of the meme coin goes up because it's quoted in Solana. But obviously they're lower market caps, so they're probably going to outperform Solana. So if Solana's doing well, kind of look further down the risk curve into the high market cap Solana memes. So what are the high market cap Solana meme coins? Like the big ones would be Popcat, Dog with Hat, and Bonk. And there's a couple more that I think those three, I think they've kind of put in their all-time highs. Potentially if things go crazy in the late of the year and Bitcoin's going to 200k or something like that, then there's a good chance they could break all-time highs. But I do think for the most part, there's better risk to rewards than these kind of older meme coins. I'd be looking at stuff like Fartcoin and Giga, which are slightly newer. And then even still on top of that, I would be looking at the really, really new meme coins. Like I feel like if Bitcoin puts in some sort of, like the next run, there's always going to be a new meme coin that just goes absolutely crazy. So we're going to be absolutely dialed in, looking out for what that could be, that PvE runner. So potentially Fartcoin could be turning into that PvE runner. If you look at my Twitter, Fartcoin's the only thing I've been talking about 4 months now. So make sure you're following my Twitter. And yeah, I think this is kind of becoming a consensus trade at the moment. So potentially don't FOMO in here. It's obviously going to have a bit of resistance at the $1 level. But, that was a clear trade. And Fartcoin has actually been the signal over the last couple of months that every time Fartcoin's going up, that the entire stock market, the entire crypto markets are going to pump the next day. It just seems to be a leading indicator at the moment. So potentially a little bit of alpha there, which is kind of funny. But it's essentially the thing that's the furthest out the risk curve. And it's kind of a newer meme coin. It's still from the last era of meme coins, but it's not from 2023. and it's not from early 2024. It's kind of, I think it was late 2024. So like I said, I do think the older meme coins obviously have a lot of bag holders at all the price points above. So with, for example, in Bonk, we have a lot of bag holders that would be happy to take profits along the way. However, with some new meme coins that are completely new, if Bitcoin starts doing really, really well, like we could see some crazy PvE runners again. A couple of coins that I'm in at the moment is, well, the main one I'm looking at is Housecoin. I suppose it's kind of somewhat similar to Farcoin, but it's its own idea. It's basically slagging off the housing market. Everyone thinks, or people on Twitter think, the housing market is top, the housing market is overvalued, blah, blah, blah. Let's just buy Housecoin because none of us can buy a house. That's kind of the idea with that. It's kind of funny. And obviously Faptal, if you follow him on Twitter, is always talking about the housing market, saying it's overvalued, and Lexapro is shilling this one as well. So I think with meme coins generally, the meme coin is as good as the influencers who shill it. For example, would Dog with Hat gone anywhere if it wasn't for Ansem? He essentially single-handedly pumped that thing to like $5 billion. Obviously not single-handedly, but he was the main driver behind it. With Farcoin, obviously, Dip Wheeler was the big influencer pushing that. Obviously, there's other ones as well, but generally there's a couple of influencers, a couple of KOLs who push a coin. And, if they're a well-respected influencer slash KOL, that coin is likely going to do well. So you're kind of betting on the shiller of the meme coin when you're investing in a meme coin. I think Lexapro is taking off and Faptal are both taking off as they're new Twitter accounts that are doing well. So potentially Housecoin could be a play. Now, do I think you should FOMO into any meme coins at the moment? Absolutely not. We've no idea what's going to happen with the housing markets, but the stock markets and the real world markets. So be careful. But I do think, I would add that meme coins generally have very obvious entries and very obvious take profit zones. Like they always struggle at like 10 million market cap, 20 million market cap, very obvious support and resistance levels and previous. You'll be able to get an entry on any of them with lower risk. And for example, if you enter at 10 million, you see it crashing back down to 10 million, you enter there, then you have an easy stop loss. So say it crashes down to 8 million, you can just get out then. Like I don't want you to be taking massive risks with meme coins. Like there's obvious invalidation zones, so you can ape in an obvious support and then cut it if it's not playing out at that support. Another place to be looking at meme coins are new chains. I bought some meme coins on Abstract. The reason being is obviously I'm farming Abstract, so if you want to farm Abstract, you can watch my video on it there. But just to add to a bit of the farming rewards and XP, doing a bit of trading there, buying some meme coins, and some of them are doing quite well. I got into Newt, which is, I think that's one of the main memes there, but Dan McAvoy is shilling it. Remember when he started shilling Toshi? So he pumped Toshi from, 1 or 2 million up to a few hundred million. And if you're on my channel, you got in there before he even shilled it. Nevertheless, there's also Bitcoin, which went crazy on Abstract. I think it's pulled back now, but it was some sort of Ponzi. So in and out there. So just somewhere to look out for potential meme coin plays. Always be looking at new chains that are going to pop off in your opinion. It's not always going to be on Solana. So to summarize, do I think the meme coin supercycle is back? No. Do I think some meme coins can get a massive bounce in the shorter term? Yes. So that's kind of how I'm playing everything at the moment. And we have yet to see if Bitcoin and Solana can get back into an actual longer term time frame bullish uptrend. But for the moment, the bias is still, we're in a bear market, potentially, hopefully just a short bear market. But we can still play some nice big bounces along the way. So looking at, if you wanted to go for the higher leverage stuff, looking at the very new low market cap memes that are starting to pop off. And if you want some more of them, join my Telegram. I always share stuff in there. And my private group obviously gets first scoop on everything I do, especially the very low market cap stuff that I feel kind of a bit weird saying it to, 1,000 people that are in my public group. So yeah, with all that said, really hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next vid. Cheers.